Hello and welcome to today's uplifting conversation with me, Kay Hamilton. I am so excited to be here today to inspire you, to uplift your life and to navigate your way through challenges so that you can experience the best version of living your life possible. And this week, I am so delighted to have the lovely Bridget on with me, who is going to give us some of her astrology wisdom, tips, expertise. And today, Bridget's also going to share her story about the journey of what she has done to put herself out there in the world, because she has traveled a similar journey to me, in the sense that she is putting herself out there to get some astrology readings, and she does daily. Is it 5 days a week or 5 days a week? Yes, 5 days
Six
a
Monday
week.
to Saturday.
Absolutely. So she has a lovely little group on Facebook as well. And I would imagine that for Bridget to actually put herself out there in the world, it's a bit like me. I don't know how long it took you, but it took me about 2 years to put myself out there and go, I don't have to worry about what everybody else thinks about me. I've just got to do my thing. I've got to follow what I call my divine nudges. So, Bridget, welcome. And I'm so excited to listen to your story, because I've known you for a while and you've done a reading for me, and I know you personally and I love you dearly, but I don't know a lot about your backstory. So it's going to give me some insight. And welcome also to all these lovely people commenting. Thanks for watching and being involved. Please share your questions. This will be also recorded for my Mint radio sessions as well. So we will do our best to make sure those people who can't necessarily see us can get a drift of what's going on with how we share our news through our word of mouth. So over to you, Bridget. Let's hear from you what you did to step into your courage. And do you feel you had to step into your courage? That's probably another question.
Absolutely, Kay. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. That was lovely. My name's Bridget, and I have Lifetime to Level Up over in Facebook. And like Kay was saying, I do Monday to Saturday. I just do a daily astro and guidance. So I am a health and wellness coach as well as an astrologer. But my astrology story goes back to, I've been doing astrology since I remember talking about it in primary school. So I was about 10 years old when I first, really started acknowledging astrology. And I was one of those ones that were always asking people their sign. And Karen Morgold, who used to be one of the Australian early TV astrologers, she was my hero. So, and I started studying it professionally in 2002. So that's 20 years I've been doing it, on a professional or a more professional sort of sense. As far as you're talking about courage, back in the day, I even passed up an exam because I was so scared I was going to get it wrong. That, it was only 2 years ago when I was really getting into the health and wellness coaching that I started to put myself out there little bit by little bit, and just conquering that courage just itty bitty bit at a time. But then at the beginning of this year, I just opened up a group, and I was doing it just for my friends. And that was really the building of the confidence that I needed. And I allowed myself to get it wrong. I really did just forget the whole rules, regulations, shoulds. Shoulds are a horrible word. And yeah, I just went from there, and now, my group's got over 250 people, and I've just got the confidence that I need to be the individual that I am. I don't care that, I'm just allowing myself to be me, and people love me as I am. And yeah, just it's coming along beautifully. So
Oh, fantastic. And And do you get nervous when you go online now, or did you at first? Did you get, anxious
Oh,
and things like that?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally did. And Rescue Remedy was one of my things. I didn't actually know you in it at that time early on. So
Yes.
now I have my now I've got my clarity oil and I've got backups now. So I definitely use crystals and oils and like the good old Rescue Remedy to sort of calm my nervous system down.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fantastic. Rescue Remedy used to be my go-to years ago before I got into oils, but now I go, oh, actually, I've got my oil, so Rescue Remedy isn't on the top of my list.
Yeah.
So, look, we've got some people joining us live, and I think I've discovered that I'm accidentally streaming onto spiritual events today. And I'm not supposed to be on spiritual events, so I'm hoping there's no one programmed to go on and I'm taking their place. I'll have to sort that out later. Um, so we are not doing readings today. We are talking about sharing our story of courage. And really, this is a beautiful opportunity for Bridget to put herself out there and to step into her courage really in a new arena as well. And actually, before we hopped on, I said to Bridget, gee, would you consider having a monthly session with me? And she's saying yes. So this could be a regular occurrence with Bridget and I. So if you're interested in astrology and essential oils, of course, because we love to weave the two together,
Mhm.
you will be welcome to join us more often. So, Susan, you're asking what's a good oil for stress? And that's a great question. Nearly every oil is good for stress, but my go-to would be a beautiful blend called Stress Away. Have you tried this one yet, Bridget?
No, I haven't. No, it looks
Yeah.
good though.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's uplifting. It's got a light floral aroma, vanilla and lime in it. And so many people just say, I just love my stress away. So, and if you are interested in anything we've got to share today, you can find me on my website here, kayhamilton.com. And Bridget, I might type Bridget's website in to the comments, or you could tell us so that people who are listening today can. What's your website, Bridget?
My current website, because I'm actually being brave and building my own, my current
Excellent.
website is lifefromthegroundup.com.au. That's more of like when we moved to this new property, because I live on 60 acres in a very remote part of Tasmania, off grid. So even that took bravery for us to get out of the normal housing situation to go off grid. But yeah, so that's Lifetime to Level Up. But, heading over to Lifetime to Level Up, which is a private Facebook group, is definitely the place that you're going to find me more often. So
Exactly.
please
Yeah.
come over and join us there.
So on Facebook, Lifetime to Level Up. I've put that in the comments for those who can see
Thank
us.
you.
And Kerry's asking oil for back pain. We have lots of oils that will give you nice relief if you are struggling in that way. You are best to come and find me on Facebook and let's have a conversation. In actual fact, I offer half an hour clarity calls for that too. But what I would like to do today is to tell us, Bridget, you had a list of things that you wanted to talk about astrology
Mm,
today. But before you
mhm.
go into that, how does astrology help you in everyday life and with your courage or your ability to cope with what's happening?
Okay, so as far as stress and the ability to cope with things, now with astrology, it gives you an indication of what the likely energy is. Now, everybody's chart is different, so not everybody's going to get affected by the same transits. But like when something like, so we're talking about courage, Mars is the planet that gives us courage and drive. And currently, he's been retrograde, so he's been going backwards since October this year, the 30th of October. Now, so this is us second guessing ourselves and going back over our thoughts. So, when you're aware of the transits of the day, you can instantly recognize your triggers and then you can sort of talk yourself through it, and then it's not something that you're associating with your own downfall or something that is wrong about you. You're like, oh no, that's like today, it's Scorpio moon, you know, so you're more likely to go, okay, this is a feeling, this is something that's happening to me, and you can just sort of work your way through it. You know, if you're feeling stressed, you know, like I often go for, you know, when I get stuck in my thinking, I'll have a sniff of the clarity oil, and
Yes.
you know, it can just assist you in not blaming yourself for how you feel. It's a transit, you know, these things pass. So that's how
Mm.
I use astrology. And it also allows me to have a certain focus for the day, or, you know that there's something in the air that is sort of, it's giving you assistance to push you in a certain direction. You know, the upcoming new moon in Capricorn, you know, it gives us a time frame to be specific about building our foundations or moving forward with business decisions. So that's how I like to explain astrology and how it can help you just reduce that stress as well. So
It's another tool, isn't it? Like I
yeah,
often use word tools, a string to our bow, or I would like to visualize having a bowl of goodies that we can, like a magic healing bag that you can dive into, pull out a crystal, or pull out an oil, or look at your astrology chart is good, because then you can predict, in September things could be a little bit rough for me. So, take that into consideration, and uh, really be more in control of your situation. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got total control, but it means that you have these tools, or, the things you need to work your way through situations.
An example would be, like I was saying with the Mars retrograde, you know, if you are an Aries or a Scorpio or someone that has a prominent Mars influence in their chart, you know, you might be second guessing yourself, you know, and so, or you get stuck in a train of thought where sometimes you just need a tool to bump it. You know, it's like a record player getting stuck in a groove. So, you know, when you're sitting in that stinking thinking, you can just use something else to sort of get you through that. So,
Absolutely.
you know, Mars goes direct on the 12th of January. So, you know, like exactly with the timing, you just utilize whatever tools you can until that energy is moving in a different direction.
Mm. I like that. So, one of my favorite go-tos for those tricky times is Valor. Now, Valor is an oil that helps with your, to stay stable, to stay calm, and but also to have a really a strength about you. It's like putting your armor on. And I use this one a lot. So, I've got a little roller ball on mine, and I will simply place it on my wrists. And we have a little thing we call a valor balance, and just sitting quietly for a minute with your wrists crossed like this. Smell the oil in, of course, and I love moving it around my aura, and just sitting really quietly and tuning in to bring yourself back into a state of balance is a
Mm.
really good thing to do. Now, you had some other goodies to tell us about the astrology things that are coming up. What are we expecting over the next few weeks? Or I'm going to hand that back
Yes.
over to you, Bridget.
All right. So I'm sure that everybody now in the collective has heard of Mercury retrograde. You know, so Mercury is coming up to his retrograde. We are starting the year in a Mercury retrograde, and next year. So next year we only get 3. But this year it's going to be in Capricorn. So now Pluto is at the end of Capricorn. So he is asking us to transform our our oh my god, I've lost my word, transform our foundations. All right, so Mercury in Capricorn is asking us to have a look, you know, in a business sense. It's like, do you have all the fundamentals right? So, you know, he's going forward, he's going to come up near Pluto. Pluto's asking us to transform, and then he's going to go back and think over it again. So, you know, January, don't expect too much to get done in January. We have both Mercury and Mars in thinking signs retrograde. So we've got that. So Mercury goes direct on the 18th and Mars goes direct on the 12th. So, this is a time where you can just sit and think about the things that you want, not necessarily act on them then. We're ruminating. What are the possibilities? What things have worked in the past that we need to change if they didn't work? In the sky as well, because Saturn rules Capricorn. Now, Saturn and Uranus have been having this square off in the sky for, pretty much since 2020. And how much has society and ourselves changed? We have all decided to head into new directions because the old way, Saturn, hasn't worked for us in our current era. So, there's been a lot of challenges on our own plates. We're all finding ourselves in new places that we're all like, really unsure of. So this is another place where courage is needed for us to, choose the new direction. So now, in saying that as well, Saturn moves into Pisces in April, and Pluto moves into Aquarius. So collectively, there is so much shift and change going on. So reinforcing yourself so that you do have that courage and awareness of what you're going through is, it's coming. So up until April, like really just, have the courage to be yourself, do your thing, choose the new direction, and just have faith, really, too. There's so much faith needed at the moment in whatever it is that you place your faith in. So,
absolutely. What do you think happens to us or would happen if we don't step into our courage, or if we don't? I like to use the word divine nudges. I have these nudges of, I'd like to do this, or I get excited about that. And then, maybe a month later or a day later or something whatever it is that gives us that urge or that impetus to actually take some action. What do you think are the repercussions if we don't take any action on some of those
so
nudges that we're getting?
yeah, it's such a good question because, basically, it's like an earthquake. If we don't gradually adjust, then we're going to get a big crack. You know what I mean? Like if you go with the hunches and then you move through things at your own pace, then you don't get that lightning bolt experience where change will happen regardless of where you're at. So the more you resist change, the harder that change that is inevitable will be. So, because the
Oh,
universe is going to make you do what needs to be done. So, it really does come down to how much you are willing to go with the flow.
and I like that because sometimes actually last year there was a point, and I thought, when you look at astrology, there's so many things that happen on a global level, or key. You might think of, be able to bring up something that you can think of, but when you look back at things that have happened, and I've heard people who are into astrology say, oh yes, that's when something happened. Now, astrology isn't my expertise like you, Bridget. Do you know what I mean? And can you answer that question?
Yeah,
Can you give us an example
absolutely.
of a worldwide event? Yes.
Okay, so the Saturn square Uranus, revolution. Uranus wants the new things. Saturn wants the old way. So, the 2020, 2021 Black Lives Matters, like the people fighting back, that is the Uranus square. So that, like, again, that's inevitable. Now, when Pluto is currently in Capricorn, which is the governments and the corporations of the world, they're not wanting to change. They don't want their financial structures to be different. Yet Uranus is in Taurus, which is all about finances and the earth, our food security. Things need to change. And corporate wherever don't want things to change. So, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, that is literally transformation of the collective, or, Aquarius is the people, it is the crowd. So that, that transformation, that Pluto Phoenix moment, it's inevitable. So it's coming, And again, Saturn into Pisces. Now, we've just had Jupiter going through Pisces for the last year, and that has been extraordinary. Any Pisces people, or, that is these massive dreams that we've had. Now, Saturn's going to come through and help you solidify and build upon any of these spiritual sort of, inclinations or dreams that you've had. So yeah, corporations are changing because they have to, because people will revolt against the old way. So, I mean, you're seeing it everywhere. People are coming unstuck. They, like Trump, I'm not getting political, but, someone with an ego that large who thinks he cannot be held accountable, Saturn's like, well, mate, I've got other ideas for you. And, that's going to be one that is going to be interesting to watch, to see his chickens come home to roost. So
and chickens are coming home to roost all around the world with lots of people. And I think very much we are moving forward into a world where, we the people need to start taking our power back. And this is very much one of the reasons why I love bringing these conversations to people, because each and every one of us, like, to me, I just imagine the world if we were all empowered, if we all knew how to look after ourselves, if we all took those, that stance of courage. Because I like courage, because I think you've got to be brave to put yourself out there. And I suppose it's pretty meaningful for me, because I was brought up in the area of, do as you're told, and little girls who ask don't get, and dominating patriarchal father that, if you question him, he'd say, well, if I'd say, well, why do I have to do this or that? And then his response would be, because I said so. And I could never get it. And I wanted to understand, rather than just be told this is it and you've got to toe the party line. Because when we have that, this is what I'm telling you, you have to do, our resistance presents. And we also, I think my teaching background and working with children these days, and particularly children who've been diagnosed with something like on the spectrum or something, we were trained that these children need to know why, and they're teaching us about new ways of communicating, and not just, look, I told you to do this, so just go and do it. But if you say to the child, look, come back from the edge of the the bridge or something, because it's a long drop down there, and I really wouldn't be happy if you wouldn't be happy if you fell over. So if you explain to children the reason why, then they go, oh, she's not just trying to be bossy or whatever. So I think it's very important for us to, even with our own children, make sure that we are talking to them and explaining things. And when we're not just the boss who has to boss them around, it's about, they're in my care and they need to know that I'm caring for them. So we've got some Michelle here has asked, are we going to see us having peace?
There's going to be transformation of society, basically, so peace that's such a loaded word, yin yang. There's always going to be a range, if you can find peace within yourself, then people are more likely to speak out against things that they see as unjust. So, when it comes to the collective saying we do not accept that anymore, then we are going to see a more peaceful time. I can't even think back in history when we have had total peace. I think it's just human nature for us to want to war and argue with other people because, the ego wants to be right. But I think with Pluto, like I said, Pluto moving into Aquarius, there will be transformation. But Saturn into Pisces, he's not really comfortable because he's going to have to feel everything. But it might just calm patriarchy down a little bit. Maybe Saturn needs a little bit of a hug to say, it's okay, man, you don't have to dominate everybody. So yes, I think we'll
really the need of domination, or wanting to dominate, within that and underlying that, what would you maybe say has that? Why do you think people want to dominate? Got an answer to
Mm.
that, or a
Oh my
sense
God.
of that?
Well, I mean, it's yeah, it's you know what, I just think masculine and feminine energy, and that can go on, whether you are male or female or whatever you choose to be. Um, it just balance is hard for a lot of people because, you know, if you didn't have enough hugs as a child, you're gonna want to be demanding of anybody's time and energy. So, I do a lot of inner child work as well. So we look back at the reasons why you have the triggers that you do. These people that are running our world, they all need a good hug, really, don't they? So, and it comes down to being satisfied with yourself as well. So I hope that
That's
answered.
no, well, that's what I would have said. I think if you feel the need to dominate, there's some insecurity deep within, and also, this thing of I want to prove myself. I want to be the tough, I want to be the person out there that calls the shots. And I know for me, the older I've become, the more
Mm,
I let go of, expecting my children to follow my path, or expecting
yeah.
them to agree with me. And I think there is quite is the word art, or it's not, I don't know if the word art, but to accept people as they are,
Mm, mm.
excuse me,
That's it.
is a
You
powerful
were
thing.
just you were just saying before, like I was born in '74, so the things that I was taught as the way things should be, they're so not relevant now. Like our children have got, oh my God, they've got the whole world's information at their fingertips. They are
Yes.
not ignorant in the ways that we were when we were younger. The
Mm,
things that my grandparents, that they would be exposed to now would shock them to the
mm.
core. But our kids are like, meh, meh,
If they
violence that they see on a daily basis. It's like, it's still confronting to me, but other people are like desensitized, so
I
society's just changed so much.
I think that desensitization is quite an issue, actually, and I think it's a bit of a concern or a worry, because we and I think it's that also, we're talking about change in the world in general. It comes back to us feeling powerless, or us having to numb ourselves, or even the violence in movies. The older I've got, the less I can watch movies. I'm more actually sensitive, and I feel like, we're going through enough struggle in the world, let alone see things in movies that are, counterproductive to peace and harmony, and, getting on. And why don't we have more rich stimulus of giving us, a sense of we've got this, or we can, sort things out, and not just have to accept what's happening. Like, I look at what children see on television these days, and I'm actually totally shocked and mostly
Horrified.
disgusted, because it's not
Yeah,
empowering. Yes. So,
yeah, no,
Michelle Bates says, I've always told my children to be free thinkers. That's fantastic.
yeah,
Jess, technology has a lot to answer for. I'm new to TikTok. It's very toxic. It's like wowzers, even the online games, crazy stuff. Yes.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
and
I
here's
haven't watched news like since the beginning of COVID. I just refuse to watch the news because like I know there's all this background stuff, and who owns the companies that's telling them what to show the people. This manipulation as well that we have. It's a
yes,
very sometimes subtle, sometimes not so subtle.
yes.
So choosing what you allow in.
Yes. And do you feel that things are what I think what's happening for me, let me know if you agree, things are coming up to the surface to be exposed for people
Yes,
to see what's really going on in the world. And it's like the light has to, and Jess made some comments here earlier. Remember, light banishes the dark. We are about to head into energies that have not been on Earth for a long time. So I
yes.
think we are. in a very rapidly changing world, but I feel like we're going to get a bit squeezed before we come out. It's like a pimple that has to be, that you want to burst, or to get, something
Yeah.
toxic out of your body, it's got to be released.
Yeah, yeah. And our current cultural foundations, Pluto's been in Capricorn for 20 years now, and it is literally going to bring down it brings down corporate, like it's going to bring down any sign that it comes in, because it needs to be like Pluto rips things out at the roots. Saturn will trim away stuff that's unnecessary. Pluto's just like, nah, start again. So when it
Yeah.
moves into Aquarius, we will see a new society. It's only popping its head in there for a couple of months, and then it's not until 24 that it moves into Aquarius for sure. But from April to April to June, it's going to be an interest. You just keep an eye on what goes on there. You'll see so many governments and corporations fall, and then if it is people power, then the courage to say this is what we actually want is what is on us. To stand up and not be scared to say we don't accept that anymore, and well, let's try a nicer way. And Saturn in Pisces might just say, okay, we'll give it a go. So
Yep. We are. When are we officially in the age of Aquarius? Because we learned that. I learned that song when I was in. That song came out. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So I learned
yeah,
that. I was born in '56. So that was. I think I was in my teenage years when that was a popular song, and we're going, yes, this is the age of Aquarius, and then you think you're heading there, but in the last couple of years, it's like this doesn't feel anything like the age of Aquarius that I visioned. So, can you speak to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the age of Aquarius is actually the precession of the equinox. So, in the time of Jesus with the fish, that was the time of Pisces. So, going into the age of Aquarius, it's more of that's a 26,000 year cycle. So that, like in astrology, when you're 5 degrees away from it, from the cusp, you start to get that influence come in. So it is a very long-term thing. Now, Aquarius is technology and innovation. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, oh my gosh, just wait for our AI. Like, that's something to be really, really wary of and careful. Technology that is implanted into the human body, like, stay away from it. We don't want AI. We don't want, we don't need technology telling us what to think, feel based on algorithms. We don't need that. Humans can cause themselves enough trouble without allowing a machine to decide what is good and what is bad.
And you
So
can't really beat the human mind and the human heart. Nothing
no,
beats that. You'll never override that. And
that's
yes, it is about
compassion.
control. Yeah. As far as some AI or technology, I mean, technologies, look, we couldn't be sitting here doing what we're doing now and reaching people all around the world. So it has its advantage, but like everything, it's got its positives and its negatives. And really, it's about
Mm,
us bringing into balance what we,
mm,
you know, just using balance as a way forward. Because if we're too extreme one way or too extreme the other, the seesaw gets tipped too high or too low.
well, you know what it's like when someone jumps off the end of a seesaw and you hit the bottom.
Hit the bottom
If you're not
thud.
ready for it, just jolt to the system.
And and coming back to that, I think that's also something that's kind of what you talked earlier. If we don't look at the signs of needing to make the changes that we need to make, we can find that thud, or it's not so much a thud; it's often like a brick wall. And I experienced that, many years ago when I had a marriage breakup, and I wasn't looking at the signs on the wall, or I was, but I didn't have the tools with knowing how to deal with them and how to cope with whatever's happening. So I think we are all going through very rich and confronting times at the moment. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So what
Yeah.
tips have you got um, over the next coming months? Have you got anything else to share in the way of
Definitely.
yes,
So, like I
okay.
was saying, January, just society's expectations and the foundations that we have built our life upon aren't relevant anymore. So, just calm down on the expectations. Don't don't think, oh my God, I've got to get this done now. It's not, it's more of we're in it for the long haul. This is not the next big thing energy. It is the rewards paid off for effort, so, and allow yourself to make mistakes. They are literally mistakes. You get to try again. And don't fear looking like an idiot. It's our uniqueness that makes us what is attractive to other people. So yeah, January, just calm down. February, March, you're going to start to get sort of the ball rolling, and then April, reinforce yourselves for April. There is going to be massive changes, and it does take standing up with courage and allowing things to flow. It's that whole damn scenario, that just reinforce yourself and be prepared for the flood that may be coming. And if you are prepared, maybe you're going to have a life raft, or you'll have your kayak, and you'll be ready to just go along with the flow as things come. So definitely up to April. The Mercury retrogrades we have this year are all in earth signs. So, what are these foundational things, like your comfort and security, your finances, your health? These are things that Mercury is going to go back over, making sure that, we were just talking about the signs and whether we hear them or not, our bodies are antennas,
Mm,
basically, for the planets. So, listening to your body and acting on hunches, definitely keeping your health up and your fear down, activating that parasympathetic nervous system and just staying within your lane and keeping yourself calm, because the first half of the year is since 2020 it hasn't been great.
mm,
Next
yes.
year looks amazing. I mean, sort of halfway through next year, it's starting to get better. Next New Year's is freaking amazing, but we've still got to get through these last draggy bits where
Mm,
it really is up to you reinforcing yourself and just being honest with yourself, acting on hunches, keeping yourself healthy. That's I can give you a whole lot more of astrological terms, but it is basically that. It's
yeah.
just stay in your lane, keep calm.
Yes.
And
One of my sayings is do what you can, when you can, as you can. And
yeah,
just, just bring it down to something manageable. And
yes.
another one that I love to quote is my dear auntie, my last surviving auntie now, but many years ago, she's also my godmother. And many years ago, she said to me, don't worry about the future because it might not happen. And
Mm,
that little saying, has held me in good stead, and often I'll say to my children, "Remember what Auntie Olive says, don't worry about the future because it might not happen." In other words, don't worry about something that hasn't happened, but do that thing of being prepared and taking the steps you can, and that's for me, that's where my intentional work comes in, my thoughts, making sure that you are controlling your thoughts, and that's something that I think we can control, but we've got to
yes.
train ourselves how to do that. So
Mm,
one thing I
yeah.
like to do, obviously, is put on an oil, like, you've got reach out here for your peace and calming. If life is overloading you and you don't really know how you're going to get through the day, you can grab an oil and simply put it on. You smell it energetically, you feel uplifted, And that can just then take you down a whole completely different path for the day. If we are feeling stressed and overloaded and we just sit in that and we let those thoughts and anxiousness perpetuate over and over again, we're like a mouse on a treadmill. And after a while,
Yeah.
the mouse just keeps going faster and faster, and we're getting nowhere. We're just running in circles.
This week, especially in the Lifetime to Level Up group, in the little plug there,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, I've been saying, you know, the only thing you can control is your response or reaction to a situation. You cannot control other people. And, you know, with astrology, you get to see it's all patterns, it's all cycles. So if you
Yes.
know that someone else is likely to act as they've always acted, then you don't have to do that. You know, I've been saying all week, control your responses, bring yourself back. So what
Mhm.
oil would you suggest to, you know, have that bring yourself back, you know, because we
We
often float away.
we Yes. So grounding, to bring yourself
Yeah,
grounded, but also
yeah.
frankincense, that's grounding. But frankincense also helps us to flip our viewpoint or flip our lens and bring in,
Uh,
a positive spirit. So if we're even if we're down on ourselves, oh, I've given myself a hard time. I didn't get the vacuuming done today, or I went out last night and I didn't do this, or I haven't done this for the day, or I'm not good enough for this, or whatever, any of those negativity things that drop into our space. We can, for
mm,
me, with the oils, what I do is use an intention. So if I think, well, this is how I'm feeling, okay, how can I turn it around? So let me think of an example. Here's this is just what's dropped in. I'm always late because I'm always running, close to the time. So I'm always late. Well, you could turn that around and say, actually, I'm in time for everything. I'm doing everything in divine timing or perfect timing, or so that we've got to really listen to our thoughts and work out, are we giving ourselves positives, Juju, or are we giving ourselves put
mm,
downs? And
yeah.
you can just turn anything, you can turn around to the other way. And that way, then our subconscious is getting that uh, stimulus that it needs to change things around and to turn things around so that we become the masters of our destiny. Now, it doesn't mean we can control everything. It just means, oh,
Mm,
yes, we can look, have a talk to Bridget, book in a reading with her. She'll talk to you about the year ahead. I had one with her last year, and she talked to me
mhm,
about the year ahead and, when times were good to make some change. And then you would kind of go, okay, all right, well, I can just chill and I can get myself prepared or do what I need to do, ready to take that next step. So through astrology and bringing my oils in, using my intentions, meditation, grounding, all of those things, making sure you're surrounded by supportive friends and family. And if you're not,
mm,
reach out to people and find your tribe. And that's something that is really a very important thing to do. Find your
mm.
tribe.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like to also acknowledge, you know, we all have that inner critic. It usually sounds like someone that we've known in our lives, whether
Yes.
it's, you know, your mum or your dad or your auntie or whatever, and name it, you know, like, hey, Jelly Bean, just calm down a little bit, give it a hug, you know, just sort of, you know, you've just got to acknowledge it just wants, you know, that inner critic wants to protect you and keep you
Mm,
safe. But, you
mm,
know, you're a grown up now, so you get to choose different avenues that aren't that, you know, that base level foundation that is changing. So,
mm.
you know, there's a lot of things that you can do. So
Yeah.
not just put crystals in your bra and you know,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
everything's
So
gonna be okay. No, we've all got to do the work, even with our astrology charts and with our oils. You don't just put an
mm,
oil on and everything magically change. It's a something
that's
it's a synchronistic thing that you bring all the
it.
elements in and work from there. Because then the more we do that, the more empowering we are. However, if we do nothing, we just get
Mm,
frustrated. We become depressed. We become unhappy, our relationships fail,
mm,
everything. goes to, down that negative spiral. And the
Mm.
further down that negative spiral we fall, the harder it is to bring ourselves back up. And in
Yeah.
saying that, sometimes it's not till we hit that thud at the bottom of the spiral when we're at the worst of our worst. That, for me, when I was at the worst of my worst, there was this little light inside me that said, you are going to be all right. And with it came a little touch of excitement, and that intrigued me. So then I
Mm.
just wanted to grow that little tiny spark until, well, that's an ongoing transformation for me. I'll never stop learning. I'll never stop evolving and changing. And, life is absolutely brilliant. And if we have that lens of everything's good in our world, yeah, we might have too much optimism, but that is going to open doors rather than close doors of I can't or this is not possible.
Mm. Mm.
So,
Um,
mm,
the
mm,
myth of Persephone, like a lot of people fear facing they're scared to face their fears. But if you look at Persephone and Pluto, Persephone goes into the underworld, therefore we have winter. And I'm a very strong Scorpio. So I find that, going into that darkness is where the gold is buried. Like if
yes,
you're not scared of exploring your fears, then you can find amazing patterns that you just didn't even realize that were playing out in your life. So just look at it as a oh wow, I get to go on an adventure to see, because it's not going to kill you to
yeah,
look at these things. So you can only gain strength and awareness and wisdom. Wisdom is we are in a time right now where we are gaining clarity and wisdom in our lives. So we are all spiritual people here right now. You have to do the work to evolve.
absolutely, absolutely. I had a thread there, but I'm reading. We've got some comments coming in on the live. Some say water can do the same, and it's the intention behind it. Oils definitely hold the intention with more power than just water.
Mm.
Oils can actually heal and enhance your life. And Jess says unless you're allergic. However, people who are allergic to oils, then they say they're allergic to oils, they're actually not allergic to oils, and that's a whole other story. But what oils will do is will help with the detoxification process. So if you are actually getting responses from oils, it usually means you've got to cleanse your body, cleanse your mind, and do a total detox. So I know a lot of people who once they detox, the oils don't affect them so much, unless you are using an adulterated oils, which most essential oils are. So I use Young Living because I know we are not using adulterated oils. They are of the highest quality you can get. Young Living actually sets a standard of essential oils worldwide, and we have the most efficient and most extensive uh, testing of our oils at each process, and that's truly amazing. Christine Bosworth is asking, can you get your oils in New Zealand? Absolutely, you can. Our oil company is a worldwide company. We have essential oils all around the world. So if anyone is interested in talking oils or having a one-on-one conversation with me, go to my website, www. It's just khamilton.com. Easy to find. And there you can find my links to my Facebook group called Kay's Essential Oil Wisdom. Come and join our group. I'll friend request you and reach out and see if you need a hand, or you can book yourself a call, a clarity call. So yes, Christine, I do have people in New Zealand in our beautiful organisation. Good question, Kathy. How can you detach from someone?
Oh, you need to know why they came to you in the first place. What pattern are they fulfilling for you? Are they taking the place of, are they reflecting your dad or your mum, or like generally we reenact patterns. So when we look at our charts, we can see where different energies lay, and again, there's a range. you need to find balance and find out what that planet is asking you to learn. So when you detach from someone, you need to know why they're there in the first place. What is the lesson? So
Okay, I love that. As well as that, I would recommend Valor because it unhooks the triggers. It gives you courage, it gives you confidence, but it gives you a lot of strength. It's a very empowering oil. And I always say people have got their hooks in you. You need to detach. So while you're looking at the process that Bridget's talking about, you could be using Valor, you could be using acceptance so that you can accept what is happening. Now, I can understand. I had to detach from my husband when he left me years ago, and I value the family so much, the core of the family. It was quite a hard thing to do, but I just had to learn how to rebuild myself and give yourself that self-love. That is the best thing you can do, to give yourself that inner strength, so that you can keep on keeping on. So, great question.
and
So
I
if
want
any
that oil. Next time I see you, I definitely want that Valor oil.
Oh, the Valor oil, yes. Well, you talk about the
Yeah.
parasympathetic and the autonomic nervous system, however you say that. And Valor is the oil that just gives you that nice, beautiful drop down, that keep it cool and stay chilled factor. Yes, I don't go anywhere without my Valor. And actually, I have this little one here called Kid Power. And I always say to
Oh,
people, don't tell the kids. It's not just for the kids, but it's, to me, it's like Valor for children. But I'm a big kid, so I just love, every time I go online, I put this on, and I just have the intention that I'm in my power, and I'm ready for action, and I'm alive and vibrant to do what I do and to bring what I bring to audiences all around the world. So
mm.
now, have you got any other things you'd like to share before we round this off? We're getting ready to round things off. We've still got a
Well,
few more
straight
minutes.
away, like I've just got my thing for my notes for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we have the summer solstice here in Australia. So I would love you guys, or if you're in the northern hemisphere, you have the winter solstice, to light a candle at summer solstice. That's you just need, you could use a birthday candle from the third drawer, but light a candle, have your intention and your wishes. And this is really preempting the Friday night's new moon in Capricorn. So, it is definitely a time for you to sit and think about, what is this new foundational structure that I want in my life, based on the things that are good for me now, not on the preconceived ideas I have from my ancestors or my past, or, all the things back there. We are here now, and you get to choose a new way every day. So tomorrow morning at 8:48, just have a wish, have a light a candle, you know, again, this is just acknowledgement of the energies of the earth, really, and, oils, astrology, crystals, it's all just being part of this earth that we are, on and from.
Absolutely. Now, what time's your show, Bridget? Because some people have joined late, so
Okay.
you can give
So
yourself
I have, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're right.
So Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. Australian, and 9 o'clock on Saturdays, because I want a bit of a sleep in. So yeah, and I just do about 20 minutes. It's a daily astro guide, really. It's just a way for people to come in, have a look at what is likely for the day, and when they come up against it, then they can just go, no, not mine, not playing. So, yeah. So like I said, 8:30 on Monday to Friday. Just come and join me at Lifetime to Level Up, and 9 a.m. on Saturdays. So, or
Absolutely.
YouTube. I do a week ahead report. That is my name, Bridget Avgastakis, on YouTube. So you can also go and subscribe to that, and or my newsletter, and I can deliver that to your inbox if you'd like weekly heads up.
Oh, that sounds good. I was just trying to type in your name,
Yep.
BridgetAvgastakis. That's
Yes.
your YouTube channel. So there you are. I've put that in the comments for people. If you are watching, please or listening, come and find Bridget on Bridget. How do I say your surname again?
Oh, my Greek husband, Avgastakis.
Avgastakis on YouTube, or this is being streamed on YouTube to my Kay Hamilton YouTube channel as well, and you have to click on the videos and you can go back and listen to all my past sessions and get some notifications on future sessions. So thanks for joining, everybody. Now, there are some questions here because some people have joined from Spiritual Events Directory, but today is not my normal time for doing readings and things. Tomorrow night, 7:15, I'm on Facebook on Spiritual Events Directory, 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Because we're streaming all around the world. This will be streamed as well, and it's streamed on Mint Radio. So we really appreciate having audiences who come along and enjoy people who are ready to step into their courage, to make changes, and to become the master of their destiny in their daily life. So if that's you, you might like to come and join me. Next week, I have just let me stop and think. And Jessie Ann Nichols George is on with me, and she's written a book about the codes, and she's got a 2020, what are we up to? 2023 book, which you can read as well as a daily inspiration and get a sense about the world and what we are heading for. So next week's show is going to be exciting. And Bridget, thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed this, and I'm pretty excited that you're thinking about coming on as a regular guest. I think that would be really quite amazing. So
I'm
thank you.
honored that you asked me to come on, so thank you so
Oh,
much.
that's beautiful. So thank you very much, everybody. Go and enjoy yourselves and start thinking about those thoughts that pop into your head. And if you want to turn them around, we hope we've given you some tools and that you can go on with and stand in your courage and be the individual that you really are, and be proud of who you are, and make sure you give yourself a pat on the back today. Can you manifest
Absolutely.
tomorrow? Well, I'm not quite sure. That's a broad question, I think. Manifest tomorrow.
Wish for it.
Yeah,
Make a wish.
by our thoughts and by our attitude, we can decide no matter what happens tomorrow, how we're going to cope with whatever turns up tomorrow. So from my heart to your heart, thank you, everybody. And have you got a parting message, Bridget?
Just the same as you. Be as authentic as you can. Trust your hunches. Go. You will be rewarded for the hard work that you put in. So,
Absolutely. Bye for now.